Welcome to Sportsball Roundup. Now here's your hosts, Devin and Reese.
Yes, hello and welcome to Sportsball Roundup. I am Devin. Joining me is my co-host Reese. Reese, we've got another exciting episode for you. We're going to go around the world of sports. Reese, the season begins Thursday, September 7th with the Lions and the Chiefs. And I personally believe that the Lions are on the right track and will give the Chiefs a better game than, historically this would look on paper. What do you think about the game and how it's going to play out and for the season opener of the NFL season?
Well, yeah, like you said, the Lions have been progressively getting better and definitely could play a part in the NFC North. They definitely could give the Chiefs a run for their money and maybe catch them on a Super Bowl hangover.
I like how you said Super Bowl hangover because that is what I think is going to happen, that the Chiefs will get kind of caught a little bit, in that week one slump, especially after winning the Super Bowl. And so and the Lions, are hungry. They've been bad to mediocre for honestly as long as I can remember. And so having a team that is actually competitive in the NFC North will have them fired up, will have them hungry, and will have them wanting to hit coming right out of the gate week one and proving to the rest of the nation that the Lions are for real. And so I honestly think that the Chiefs will have their hands full in this game.
And I think that the Lions understand that with Aaron Rodgers moving out of Green Bay, that the NFC North is no longer about the Vikings and Packers anymore. It's truly up for grabs.
And I think that the Lions are the dark horse to win the NFC North. And honestly, if they come out and they win the NFC North, I'm not going to say that they can't make a deep run. I think that anything is possible with this Lions team. They are very promising. It will be very interesting to see what the NFC North does because, you've got the Packers, who is a giant question mark with Jordan Love. You've got the Vikings that, probably will be toward the top, but, how far can they realistically go in the playoffs? You've got the Bears, who I don't foresee them doing anything great, but, you don't have the dominant Packers and Vikings, so, you could throw in the Bears. I don't think that will happen, but you could throw them in. And then the Lions, we were saying, they are the up-and-comers, and now the doors have been opened because, the old guard has left. Aaron Rodgers has left, so it'll be interesting to see what the NFC North looks like at the end of the season. We've had some preseason drama a little bit, I guess you could say. Trey Lance, the third overall pick by the 49ers in the 21 NFL draft, got traded to the Cowboys in exchange for, get this, a fourth round pick, which tells me that the 49ers screwed up with their pick of Trey Lance and that they just want him out and they'll do anything they can to get him out. And then the Cowboys picked him up, and now he's the third string quarterback in Dallas behind, obviously, Dak, the starter, and then behind Cooper Rush, the backup. So I guess, what is your take on that, Reese? What do you see with this Trey Lance deal?
I don't see the 49ers messing up per se. I just think that they got outplayed by the other 49ers quarterbacks that they had. Like nobody saw Brock Purdy doing what he did, and then the 49ers just like he's going to be their starter from now on after after their run in the postseason that he went on, and I think that kind of pushed Trey Lance down the lineup of quarterbacks because with Purdy doing what he did and making a name for himself, that put Lance in the number 2 spot at least. Now he had to fight for his job instead of getting to start behind Garoppolo. Once Garoppolo left, it was going to be Lance, and then it was going to be Purdy. But Purdy showing out kind of stole the spot from Trey Lance, and now Trey Lance had to kind of fight for his spot, and obviously he didn't win that spot, leading to his trade. Just unfortunate, and hopefully he can win a spot in Dallas. Who knows?
Right now he's like I said, he's the third string quarterback behind Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott, and yeah,
I think this is Jerry Jones' way of getting Dak to fire up in a way.
Right.
Like if he doesn't turn it around right now, if he doesn't start winning games in the postseason, we ain't gonna see Dak much longer.
Right.
At least in Dallas.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that whole saga of quarterbacks in Dallas. Moving on to a different saga, a different quarterback story. C.J. Stroud to start the season as QB1 for Houston, beating out Davis Mills and Case Keenum for the job. And, I look at those three names and none of it. This news doesn't surprise me because Case Keenum is okay. He's a serviceable quarterback, but he's not gonna have the spark that Houston desperately needs to get out of the hole that they find themselves in year after year. And so I think that they need to try something explosive. They need to try to shake things up, and CJ Stroud will be probably the best, spark that they need. I mean, obviously we'll see, but I think that this is a smart move. What do you think, Reese?
Yeah. In Houston, really don't have many options. It's all about seeing if a QB will stick or not. If they'll kind of take on the pressure role of NFL quarterback, and it's just a wait and see if CJ Stroud can deal with the pressure.
So, with the two storylines of quarterbacks that we're watching, so Houston is at Baltimore week 1, and let's see, I saw this. Dallas is at New York. So both these quarterbacks or both these storylines are on the road week 1, and Houston has Baltimore and the Cowboys have the Giants. So we'll see how these storylines progress. We will follow them and be sure to have updates as the season progresses. So with that, I would like to move on. The NFL season begins next Thursday, so we will keep you updated with everything going on. And next week, we will start having the best bets segment back, Reese.
Ooh, I can't wait for that. Don't want to miss that.
No, it'll be real fun. I know my coworker John Howren is really looking forward to sharing his bets and starting up the competition again. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about the MLB and the race for the postseason. The Oakland A's are the first team eliminated from the playoffs. Their current standing at this point in time is 39-94, and which is the worst record in the major leagues. And it's a shame to see because now the ownership has all the ammunition they need to plead their case to move the team out of Oakland and look for another host city. Rumors had it they were looking at Vegas and other options. So I mean, it's just a shame to see because Oakland used to be a great sports town. They had the Raiders. They still have the Athletics, but who knows for how long. They had Golden State. They had a good sport. They were a good sports town, and I still, see Raiders fans donning the Oakland look. I still see, um, this is kind of rare, but I do see Golden State Warriors jerseys from Oakland. Believe it or not, there have been few and far between, but I've seen it. And it's just a shame to see that because this fan base has been, beaten down for many years, but they still stick with their team, and it would be a shame to see them leave. But, they just don't have the product on the field to maybe make it work. So I don't know. We'll have to see about that. It's make or break time for a lot of teams, including your Cubs. And 4 of the 5 next series for the Cubs are against teams in the race for the NL Central and the wild card spots. They've got series against the Brewers, Reds, Giants, and 2 different series with the Diamondbacks?
Yes. Yep.
So as a Cubs fan, Reese, how are you feeling right now?
Oh, very, very nervous because as a Cubs fan, these type of stretches can literally make or break you as a fan and a team. But this type of stretch and basically to end the season with these teams, basically, we'll see what type of team the Cubs actually are.
It postseason is probably postseason, and the where we're at now, the race to the postseason is the most interesting time in baseball. Besides opening week, I always love opening day, because it signifies the the middle/end of spring, and it signifies that nicer weather is on its way. If coming from Iowa and smack dab in the northern part of the Midwest, it's cold, heading into opening day. So I always love opening day, but honestly, this is the late August, early September is what baseball, is the best baseball. Everybody's trying to compete for the postseason. Everybody's trying to make the World Series, and I absolutely love this part of the season. Going through the standings real quick, the AL East has the Orioles on top, then the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and the bottom of the barrel is the Yankees, surprisingly. In the Central Division of the American League, you got the Twins on top, followed by the Guardians, the Tigers, the White Sox, and the Royals. And then in the West, you have Mariners, Rangers, and Astros all tied for first place in the AL West. And then you've got the Angels and obviously Oakland, which has been eliminated at this point. So, Reese, anything in the American League standings kind of surprise you or interest you?
I'm really interested in that three-way tie with Mariners, Rangers, and Astros. The Rangers really surprised me. I didn't expect them to be at the top, or close to the top. I didn't think they'd be last, but I didn't see them in a race to win the division, that's for sure. The Orioles, they're they're keeping it going in the AL East. That's surprised me. Looks like they will win the AL East, so that's a shocker for me. Probably not Orioles fans, but
Yeah. No, because historically, the Orioles have been, bottom of the barrel to maybe mid tier. They have only had like maybe a couple of seasons with Manny Machado that have um, given them some, boost into the, um, postseason. But then they've kind of been a wild card team that have, had some heartbreak in, the early goings of the, postseason. So it will be very interesting to see what happens. Moving on to the National League standings, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that the Braves are on top of the East. But what is surprising is that the Phillies are in second place, and they're 12 and a half games behind the Braves. That's just how good the Braves have been playing baseball. Is that the second place team in the East is 12 and a half games back. And honestly, the Braves pretty much, barring a late season just collapse, have the East all but wrapped up.
yeah. And mostly everybody knew that the Braves would basically just cruise, basically. They're really good. They have some of the best players, and this year's been nothing for them.
Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that the Braves are where they are. I do think it's a little bit surprising that, the second place team is like I said, 12 and a half games back. But I think it goes to show you just how dominant the Braves have been. In the NL Central Division, we got the Brewers in a tight race with the Cubs, 4 games back, and they have a head-to-head series coming up. So, the Cubs can get some games back from them, directly from them to shorten the gap. The Reds are 7 games behind, so they're not too far back. The Pirates will probably not be in the race for the division win at 14 and a half games back, and then you got the Cardinals at 17 and a half games back. And the Brewers Cubs series is honestly very crucial, like we mentioned before, and I think the loser of that series, unless the Reds do something spectacular, will probably be in a wild card spot. What do you think, Reese?
Yeah, the final series between the Brewers and Cubs this year should be a good one. If the Cubs want to win the division, they definitely have to at least win 2 out of 3, and then hope the Brewers screw up somewhere. But the Brewers are pretty good, so I doubt that'll happen. But you never know. The Reds are equally as good. The NL Central all is pretty good, minus the Cardinals. But we won't talk about them. But yeah, like you said, probably the loser of that series will get a wild card spot.
Going back, so they did play on Monday. So the series is ongoing at this point in time.
Yeah.
Monday, the Brewers won over the Cubs. Yesterday, they lost. And so I guess the rubber matches today. This is a crucial juncture for the Cubs.
Yeah. They could either be 3 behind or 5 behind at the end of the day.
Yep, and so we'll have to see what happens, and we'll update you next week on that. Moving on to the NL West, we have the Dodgers on top, followed by the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Rockies. With the Dodgers having a commanding 13.5 game lead to the second team, the Giants. So the Dodgers pretty much have that all squared away. The surprising story out of the West was that the Diamondbacks started kind of on fire at the beginning of the season and have since, I guess, evened out to a 500 record, and which surprised me. Did it surprise you, Reese?
To be honest, not really, because it seems that's always the way the NL West goes. There's always that one team that starts off blazing hot, and you think, oh, maybe they can actually defeat the Dodgers in the division. Maybe they can actually win the division. And then it starts to get the middle of the season, the All-Star break, and the Dodgers start slowly catching up because that team is losing a little more often than they used to. They're not on a losing streak, but they're losing 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3, but the Dodgers just keep winning and winning and winning, and they keep climbing the division, and then the Dodgers never lose anymore. Like that's just the way the NL West goes. The Dodgers always start back, and then they end up winning because they're a slow starting team, I believe, and then they just make up for it as they go. So not really, because sometimes the Giants will start hot, sometimes the Padres will start hot, but then the Dodgers will keep climbing back into it.
Yeah, which makes it interesting to say the least. So real quick, the American League wildcard race is as follows. You got the Rays, the Rangers, and the Astros. In those wildcard spots as of right now, obviously things will change. Well, could change, I guess. And in the National League, you've got the Phillies, the Cubs, and the Giants in those wild card spots at this moment in time. And we will keep you updated on the postseason race to the postseason as weeks go on. Now I want to switch gears and talk about the FIBA World Cup. So, an interesting thing that was learned today, as Reese explained to me, is that the winners of the initial group stages, the top 2 teams that come out of the initial group, get combined and shuffled into a second group second round of groups that will play each other. They'll get mixed and matched and combined into more groups that will play in the second group stage, and then the winners of those will get into a bracket system. Is that correct, Reese?
Yes. So in FIBA, there's 2 group stages. It's unique about it, I guess. I never knew that. But yes, it'll be cut down to the final 8 after these 2 group stages.
That will be that's very interesting concept. And so the teams that are moving on from Group 1 into Group 2 would be the Dominican Republic and Italy out of Group A, Serbia and Puerto Rico out of Group B, USA and Greece out of Group C, Lithuania and Montenegro out of Group D. Group E advances Germany and Australia. Group F has Slovenia and Georgia advancing. Group G has Spain and Brazil advancing, and Group H has Canada and Latvia advancing. And so the second round groups will be as followed. We're going to call it I, has Serbia, Dominican Republic, Italy, and Puerto Rico. Group J will have Lithuania, Montenegro, USA, and Greece. Group K will have Slovenia, Germany, Australia, and Georgia. And Group L will have Canada, Latvia, Spain, and Brazil. And so that will be very interesting to watch. I didn't know, I guess, how the system worked. And so this will be very interesting to keep an eye on, and we will have updates with that in our next week's podcast. So with the time we have remaining, I would like to talk a little bit about the events that are happening this week in football. We've got college starting their true week 1 with Thursday's top 5 games being Florida at number 14 Utah and Nebraska at Minnesota. Friday we've got Miami of Ohio at Miami of Florida. Louisville at Georgia Tech. And then Saturday begins the true Saturday schedule that we will be looking forward to throughout the fall and winter. We've got Utah State at Iowa, UNI at Iowa State, Colorado at TCU, North Carolina at South Carolina, Toledo at Illinois. And then we've got a couple of games on Sunday, and then week 1 rounds out on Monday. So Sunday's game has LSU at Florida State, and Monday's got Clemson at Duke. And I see that you starred Colorado at TCU because we've got Deion Sanders' first year as a head coach of a college program, and he is the head coach of Colorado. So that will be very interesting to watch. Obviously, we are Hawkeye fans, so we will be watching Utah State at Iowa. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to watch the Nebraska at Minnesota game because, that's a Big Ten matchup. And
yeah, it feels like always an Iowan Iowa tradition to cheer on Nebraska to lose. Sorry to say, Nebraska fans, but us Iowa fans, we always want Nebraska to lose. That's a fact.
Yeah, it is, and we'll have to see what happens. Nebraska has a tough test at Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's been pretty good as of as of late, as of these last few seasons. So we'll have to see what happens there. And honestly, I'm just so excited for regular season college ball to start, because it's just the atmosphere surrounding college ball is always just electric and exciting, and I'm all for it, Reese.
Yeah, there's nothing else like it. It's one of a kind.
It is. And we'll keep you updated on all the sports happening. But for now, you've been listening to Reese. I am Devin. This is Sportsball Roundup Radio. Have yourselves a wonderful day.